It's
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Pinellas County School Board meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order this morning. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, Madam Chair, and to the school board, I'd like to pull two items on the non-consent agenda, number 2 and 3. And these deal with the 2-year contract renewal, both with micro school Pinellas and also Plato Academy in Pinellas Park. And both these charter schools have requested additional time to review the contract, and I agree with them. And so instead of rushing something, I'd like for them to fully vet the contract out with us and with our legal department. And we'll be bringing this back to the board at a future board meeting, certainly prior to the June deadline. Thank you.
You are so welcome. So the following changes have been made to the April 9th school board agenda. Non-consent agenda items have been removed, which is 12.2, requesting approval of a 2-year charter renewal for micro school, Pinellas Charter School, and 12.3, request approval of a 2-year charter renewal for Plato Academy, Pinellas Park Charter School. Also, all pre-existing agenda items have been renumbered accordingly. Yes, Ms. Carr.
Hello, I'd like to request that we pull for discussion consent item number 4 on pages 66 and 67.
Okay, so when we get to that point, we will have a motion for the consent agenda minus the item number 4, and we'll take up the item number 4 prior to. Okay. I find good cause to make the necessary changes on the agenda. Do I have a motion with a second?
Move approval of the amended agenda.
Is- All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all so very much for the adoption of the agenda. We have our invocation today. I'm so excited. And then we have our national anthem that will be presented to us. And I believe there's a second song. The pastor today is Pastor Joe Adams, Christ the King Lutheran Ministries of Largo. So congratulations and thank you so much for being here with us. And our national anthem is Osceola Fundamental High School's choral group. And again, Mr. Campbell, thank you so very much for you and your students being here. And Mr. Campbell will introduce the second song. Please stand.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to pray for you. We pray. Oh, Lord Jesus, we thank you and praise you for this day and for your many blessings of life. Lord, I thank you for these men and women who have been elected to the school board. I thank you for the desire that they have to help the students of this community receive the best possible education. And as I meet this morning, I pray that you would be with them, that you would fill them with your spirit, that they would communicate openly and honestly, that they would respect one another's opinion, and that the decisions that they make would be wise and beneficial to all. I pray it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red In a world full of people who you can lose sight of. The darkness around you makes you feel so small. But I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful like the rainbow. Show me your smile then. Don't be unhappy, can't remember when I last saw you laughing. If this world makes you crazy and you've taken all you can bear, just call me out, 'cause you know I'll be there. And I'll see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful. I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful like a
Absolutely fabulous. Thank you so much, Mr. Campbell. Thank you to the Osceola Fundamental High School's choral group. And to add in sign language at the end, I think was just absolutely wonderful, since we service students across many spectrums that have many supportive challenges related to their education. So thank you all so very much. Have a wonderful day. Thank you also to the pastor for your prayer for us today, Pastor Joe Adams from Christ the King Lutheran Church. Our video for today, global fashion designer Rebecca Minkoff visits her alma mater, Gibbs High School. Pinellas County Schools boast countless successful graduates, entrepreneurs, business and community leaders, members of Congress, television and film actors, professional athletes, and even an astronaut. Rebecca Minkoff, a Gibbs High School PCCA graduate, now heads a global fashion brand with 4 retail stores in the United States, 8 international locations, and 900 stores carrying her designs worldwide. She recently visited her alma mater to share her story and inspire students to pursue their dreams. Here is a brief look at her visit.
Well, first of all, it's crazy to think that 20 years has gone by. I think I always still feel like I'm 18. And so to have not set foot here in 20 years is crazy. This is the sewing room, similar to where I learned how to do patterns, make my projects. But it's fantastic to be back to see like where I used to sew, where I learned my craft. And to see, you know, Miss Kelly and Miss Page brings back tons of memories.
Well, I remember her passion, and I saw a lot of her because she was with me basically 3 periods of day, and she was a hard worker. She had a lot of vision.
Oh my goodness. The emotion was just a flood of wow. I remember so many great things about this young lady. so many great things that I'm still passing on to the students now, which is the possibilities are endless of what it is you can actually accomplish.
We love Rebecca.
I think the first bag always has a special place in my heart because that started everything in a way that, you know, I've had. It was great to see the kids and to hopefully something resonates with them and, you know, they take that on and achieve their dreams with it. I think PCCA embraced me as an artist. It was a place that, you know, I sacrificed. My mom and I were talking about it. Like, we drove 45 minutes to get here, and I did that every day, often waking up at like 4:30 in the morning. So it shaped, you know, discipline, really gave me skills I needed as an artist to succeed, and was sort of the launch pad for my career.
Fabulous. That's absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that video with us. The thing that really strikes me, not only with Ms. Minkoff being a fashion designer at Fashion Week in New York, but the teachers that taught her back then, 20 years ago, are still with Pinellas County Schools. So what does that say about the dedication and commitment of teachers wanting to make sure that our students continue to succeed? So again, Pinellas County Schools writing its own story. I think that's fabulous. Yes, yes, yes. So we have the introduction of professional and community organization representatives this morning by Elizabeth Herendeen, Director of Strategic Communications. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Grego, and staff. It is my pleasure to introduce the following representatives of community and professional organizations. Representing the Pinellas Educational Support Professionals Association, Nellie Henyes. With the Pinellas Classroom Teachers Association, Mike Gandolfo. From the Pinellas County Council of PTAs, Cindy Ehrenzeller. And from the Pinellas Arts for a Complete Education Coalition, Madeline Dunsizer. Today, we have a presentation from the Student Rights and Responsibility Committee. Please welcome from Osceola Fundamental High School, Krista Morocco, Tyree Hill, and Ben Allen.
Hi, thank you. Osceola Fundamental is the only fundamental high school in the entire state of Florida. We are an A-rated school and have been for 6 years, from 2012 to 2018, and we're also a 5-star school for 5 years, 2013 and 2018. We are the first high school to be certified with an AVID program, and that builds skills and behaviors for academic success. We have the AP Capstone Diploma, which is AP Seminar and AP Research. I'm actually in it right now, and I really enjoy the program. It's helped improve my writing and presentation skills, and I'm excited to get my Capstone Diploma thing. We have over 100 honors courses offered at our school, and we have over 20 AP courses, and not just the core classes, but also things like computer science, art, music, and foreign language. We have 8 dual enrollment courses offered on campus, and we have virtual courses offered in school. So we have a lot of opportunities to personalize your learning at Osceola. We have 3 CAPE academies. CAPE provides career pathways aligned with industry standards. So we have CTED, the PIMA program, and culinary arts. CTED is Center for Technology, Entertainment, and Design. You can take pathways like business management, cybersecurity, digital design, sports marketing, TV production, and web development. And within those, you can get certifications in Office. I have my certification in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, but you could also get it in Adobe, such as Photoshop, Illustrator, Dreamweaver, InDesign, and also HTML. If you're into web development. There's also certifications for cybersecurity and business. The PIMA program is our pre-engineering and manufacturing academy. They study applications of engineering focusing on transferable skills, and you can get into multiple certifications, including SolidWorks. Lastly, culinary arts. We offer a four-year program to get your hands on in the kitchen and cooking. We are the only high school to offer Italian as a foreign language, and we also have Spanish all the way up to advanced placement. We have an excellent theater program and tech theater program. Come see our current show, Thorough Modern Millie. Our visual arts program offers 2D, 3D, digital art, and photography. And our performing arts, we author Eurythmics like color guard, concert band, marching band, orchestra, chorus, as you just saw, and keyboard and guitar classes.
Not only does Osceola pride itself in its educational achievements, but also in its sports. Osceola has various sports that range from football, softball, volleyball, baseball, swimming, cross country, just to name a few. In baseball 2018, the team had a total of 10 wins and participated in FSHAA playoffs. Cross country in 2018 had girls and boys team win district champions. Boys also placed well in the PCACs. And baseball, they are placed second in the district. Basketball, girls have a record of 9-11 and boys 10-13. Tennis as well has a very good record with 13-1 for the boys and 12-2 for the girls. They also placed top 8 in states as well as district and regional champions. The swimming program, the girls placed 6th in regionals and are current district champions, as well as the boys who placed 8th at regionals, sorry. Our soccer team, our boys soccer, have made it to the second round out of 3 of the regional playoffs. They recently had a coach that won the Coach of the Year award, Ian Matthews. We also, in past months, we have got 6 signings and commitments to colleges such as University of North Florida and University of West Florida. We also, 2017, Osceola has highest combined GPA of all the 16 high schools in the district. And yes, that's all.
Awesome. All right. So when it comes to clubs and activities at our school, we have many different kinds for many different interests and subjects. So when you're thinking about language, we have the Spanish and Italian club. We even have, for the arts, drama, cinema club, culinary club, and we also have leadership clubs, as in Best Buddies and the 5,000 Role Models. And we also have a debate club that's going strong. And the nice thing about these clubs is that you will always go to school and you can see that, these kids, they will stay after school and make sure that they are active, and they will continuously stay and be interested in the things that they are involved in. And so with my experience, if you're interested in something and it's not already available, I decided I'm interested in movies, and I decided to ask a teacher, hey, you mind if we can start a cinema club? And he said, sure. And so that's the nice thing about the clubs and activities that we have at the school. You're going to have teachers and faculty that are willing to take in that time and put in the effort to make sure that you can have the ability to go express and be involved in your own new thing. And when it comes to community activities, we have over 10 honor societies at this school. And with each of those honor societies, ranging from the National Honor Society to the National Technical Honor Society, there's volunteering involved with each of those honor societies. And so you'll see kids going and picking up things at the beach on a Saturday for the National Science Honor Society. You'll see for the Tri-M Music Honor Society, we'll be involved in going and helping out at different venues, different shows in the community. And that's the nice thing about what we offer at this school, since we're trying to instill the idea that we're trying to be a community, not just at our own school, but within our own world ourselves. And so it's awesome that we have these abilities, and you will always see that these kids, we're always busy. So it's incredible. So thank you for your time. Got questions?
No.
No? Okay. That's cool.
And the students have with them on today their principal, Michael Bonet. So thank you so very much for a wonderful job that you're doing with our students at Osceola Fundamental. And thank you for reporting on the wonderful things that are happening at your school. Thanks.
Thank you.
Moving on to our special order agenda. The first we have is a presentation of the proclamation designating April as School Library Month and April 17th as National Library Week. Dr. Grego.
Yes, Madam Chair and school board members, I always want to start out by thanking each and every one of our library media specialists for the service that they provide our schools and just their commitment as almost a hub of our schools when it comes to literacy and reading and love of reading. And to introduce this proclamation, I'd like to call upon Laura Woods, our Library Media Program Coordinator.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Grego and staff. I would like to share with you our plans for celebrating April as National Library Month, with this week, April 17th through the 13th, being National Library Week. Our school libraries are celebrating in a myriad of ways. Our schools are using traveling libraries on carts during testing, as they have to close the media centers, which is perfectly fine, and are still having literacy fairs where students create presentations from the SSYRA and the FTR books that they are most interested in. Book swaps are still popular, and additional silent reading in media centers and or directed by LMTs is also continuing. And as we move forward with updating our media centers, still more of our media specialists are embracing the 21st century library concept with added excitement and are reimaging their libraries and their programs to include aligned lessons, collaboration stations, maker spaces, and often coding support for everyone in the school. The schools are having students create their own books, origami style. They are celebrating famous authors such as Jane Goodall, celebrating Poetry Month, as well as earning stickers to wear that show they have been to the library, and the high school students are enjoying that thoroughly. Schools are also holding open mic poetry readings during lunch and are encouraging students to participate in new created makerspace activities such as making 3D objects for their International Night of the Arts or creating collage poetry. News shows are providing important information to all the school members. Family reading nights are also very popular, and as you can see, literacy in all forms is at the forefront of our schools through our media centers. As a district, we are offering an exciting challenge to all of our libraries. This week, we are encouraging makerspace lessons to be submitted to us that support STEM and literacy. The school in elementary, middle, and high that has the most comprehensive, creative, and effective makerspace lesson aligned to the curriculum and showing collaboration will earn an iPad video creation solution called a Padcaster system. Library Media continues to work in partnership with all content areas to support literacy and promote student achievement with enthusiasm. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have a motion on accepting the proclamation?
I motion to accept.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have two proclamations that we're going to read. So I've asked School Board Member Bill Dudley to read Library Month and School Board Member Long to read Library Week.
Thank you. School Library Month in Florida. Oops. Am I on?
They turned it.
Whereas school library programs promote literacy and the enjoyment of reading and are an important asset in the education of Florida's youth. And whereas school library programs significantly contribute to student achievement by providing instructional support resources and services. And whereas school libraries provide access to information in a variety of formats within the school, as well as digital resources outside of the school. And whereas learning to become effective users of information and ideas is essential in Florida's youth, as Florida's youth prepare for their futures. And whereas promoting competencies in using new and emerging technologies is an integral part of the school library programs. And whereas school libraries and librarians, professional partners and consultants in teaching and learning process. Now, therefore, I, Ron DeSantis, Governor of the State of Florida, do hereby extend greetings and best wishes to all observing April 2019 as School Library Month in Florida.
Ms. Long?
National Library Week 2019. Whereas today's libraries are not just about books, but what they do for and with people. Whereas libraries of all types are at the heart of the cities, towns, schools, and campuses. Whereas libraries have long served as trusted and treasured institutions where people of all backgrounds can be together and connect. Whereas libraries and librarians build strong communities through transformative services, programs, and expertise. Whereas libraries, which promote the free exchange of information and ideas for all, are cornerstones of democracy. Whereas libraries promote civic engagement by keeping people informed and aware of community events and issues. Whereas librarians and library workers partner with other civic organizations to make sure their community's needs are being met. Whereas libraries and librarians empower their communities to make informed decisions by providing free access to information. Whereas libraries are a source for all members of the community, regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or social economic status, by offering services and educational resources that transform lives and strengthen communities. Whereas libraries, librarians, library workers, and supporters across America are celebrating National Library Week. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the School Board of Pinellas County, proclaim April 2019 School Library Month with National Library Week, April 7th through the 13th, 2019. We encourage all residents to visit the library in April and explore what's new at your library and engage with your librarian. Because of you, libraries transform.
Thank you so very much. We have a motion with a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We have a 6-0 vote with Ms. Lentino not being here on today. Thank you all so very much, and thank you. I see Ms. Connie Calusi out there. Thank you so very much for the bus that Pinellas County Schools has that travels throughout the community during the summer, setting up at specific locations so that students can go in, sit on the bean bags, choose the books that they want, and take them back home. But you also go out through the year to a number of community events, making books available. So thank you all so very much for doing that, bringing reading back to the forefront. It's nothing like turning the page of a book. So thank you all for what you're doing. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We have 2 items that we need to go down for. So, yes.
You can do it. Sleeping at the wheel. Board members, the first item of recognition is the 2018-19 Family and Community Involvement Award winners. I am so proud, and we need to be extremely proud that we have 2 schools been recognized at the state level, one in elementary, Bowder Elementary School, and one a high school, Countryside High School. And to state this, not only the award, but the recognitions and the details of it, I call upon Valerie Brimm, Dr. Brimm, our Director of Family and Community Involvement. Dr. Brimm?
Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Grego, and staff, as the district continues its efforts to promote 100% student success, we recognize that families and community members bring a depth and breadth of learning to our students, staff, and schools. Today, we're going to celebrate 2 Pinellas County schools that have been awarded for the Florida 2018-19 Family and Community Involvement Award for their innovation and efforts to connect with families and stakeholders for learning. The first is Bowder Elementary. If our principal will come up, Mrs. Joanne Leichman. Bowder Elementary sponsored a school science fair expo. The expo allowed students, families, Seminole High School community partners to work side by side. This year, 14 exhibitors representing the environmental and science organizations throughout the community included Florida Aquarium, Clearwater Marine Aquarium, Pinellas County Solid Waste, and Seminole High School students. Students had an opportunity to learn how to follow a rubric, do research, and conduct experiments. Congratulations for Bowder Elementary. Thank you. Our next school is Countryside High School, and here representing for their award is our principal, Gary Shalerith, the director of the Career Center, Mrs. Kathleen Lamb, and our community liaison, Ms. Patty Misaro. Countryside High School Career Fair was attended by 1,700 high school students, their parents, guardians, and the public. With the goal of reaching out and planning a student's career path after graduations, the student had an opportunity to speak one-on-one with college and technical schools, military recruiters, potential employers, and business professionals. This event is well known throughout Countryside High School. The students had an opportunity to meet over 147 colleges, technical schools, and major employers. Countryside Career Center has sponsored over $10,000 in scholarships to their students. It is an opportunity for the students to actually visit during their lunch period to actually map out and plan their career. And we want to thank Countryside High School. I would like to also say that both schools will be honored at the Outstanding Volunteer Breakfast this Thursday morning.
Congratulations to both schools. I can say to you, board members, I've been to a lot of college fairs, and the one at Countryside that we have is without a doubt some of the best I've ever seen, one of the best. And it takes a lot of work to put these types of science fairs and college fairs on. So thank you so much for being recognized, and also representing Pinellas County so well. Thank you, Dr. Brimm. Our final recognition today is that of Principal of the Year finalist for the state of Florida. I was traveling, and whenever I get a call from the Department of Education, it's always like mixed emotions. Is it good or bad news? And so one of the things in this particular case, it was really great news, because they informed me that our principal, Linda Burris, was a finalist as an outstanding leader and outstanding principal. And I want to say to you that I have witnessed that firsthand of her leadership skills as she has taken Largo Middle School into new heights, and will only continue to do that. So thank you for representing our district so well, Ms. Burris.
Thank you.
And to introduce our Principal of the Year finalist, Dr. Hires.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair, school board members, Dr. Grego, and guests. Today, I am so pleased to recognize Mrs. Linda Burris, principal at Largo Middle School, for being named a finalist for the state's Principal Achievement Award for Outstanding Leadership. The Florida Department of Education's Principal Achievement Award was established in 1988 to recognize principals across the state for the contributions they make to their schools and communities. Every year, superintendents from each district nominate one principal for the State Principal of the Year honor. This year, we nominated Principal Burris. Every year, an innovative and accomplished leader, Mrs. Burris began her leadership as the principal of Largo Middle School during the 2017-18 school year. Prior to Largo Middle School, Mrs. Burris successfully led Clearwater Fundamental School, one of the district's top performing schools, and earned the 5-Star Golden Award several times during her tenure. Through her vast experience, dynamic leadership, and strategic approach for positive change, Mrs. Burris transferred Largo Middle School in just 7 months. Now that's leadership. Under her leadership, the school team succeeded in raising the school grade from a D to a C, while also moving from the lowest 10% of the top 60% of schools in the state. She created a mentoring program for all students in the lowest 35 for both reading and math. She placed every student in a reading class. She established and implemented an articulation plan for acceleration coursework. She reinstated the National Junior Honor Society, and she created a systemic meeting structures with a focus on academic improvement and designing innovative and individualized job-embedded professional development opportunities through the High Reliability Teacher Certification Program. Her focus on students not only resulted in academic improvement, but it also increased mentorship for struggling students and expanded professional development for teachers. Mrs. Burris exemplifies the significant positive impact a school leader make on a community they serve. Her dedication to building relationships and the outcome of her students truly embodies the professionalism and steadfast commitment of an outstanding instructional leader. Mrs. Burris prides herself on being a continuous lead learner. She has participated in many leadership professional development programs, such as New Leaders Turnaround Principal Institute, National Institute for School Leadership, which is called Nat'l, and the International Baccalaureate Middle School Years Program. Mrs. Burris has also served on several district-level committees as well. Thank you for your outstanding work, Mrs. Burris, and congratulations on being named a finalist for the Florida Principal of the Year Award. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you so much for your leadership.
It's always good to celebrate our teachers and the wonderful talent that we have. So I love when we have an opportunity to do that. Moving on to public comments on the agenda. Ms. Ann Simonetti, do we have any persons that signed up to speak?
Board members and Dr. Grego, we have one speaker this morning for specific agenda items. Mark Clutho will speak to consent number 3, consent number 17, and non-consent number 2.
3, 17, and 2.
Mark Clutho, Largo. Number 3. This is really good. You mentioned boiler and machinery, and $5.35 million, an $828,000 increase, 18%. And one of the things to cover is storm surge. But your actions you take are what's going to cause the storm surge. You just don't get that cause and effect. So sad. I think that's what Trump says, isn't it? And 17, there's an increase to $5,700,000 for another stupid building. But again, you say strategic direction, effective and efficient use of resources. Never, ever does it happen here. You know, I had last meeting this article, melting Everest Glacier exposes dead climbers. You know, that's what happens when you do what you do with your stupid buildings. And then since then, they've had an article on Denali. You know, that's the biggest mountain in North America. There's a poop problem. It's being exposed because of the global warming. Frozen human waste is thawing. Well, again, it's cause and effect. You make the stupid buildings belching the carbon. Oh, I'll tell you. And then on the non-consent here, you're Play-Doh. I laugh, I see all these idiots with the Play-Doh decal on the back, and they can't even get the thing on their level. They have them all cockeyed. Here's the big article in the USA Today, charter schools. Look at the console.
Thank you, Mr. Clutho.
It's a scam.
No further speakers. Thank you. Moving on to our unfinished business items, we have public hearing number 1 to consider the amendments to policy 9270. Dr. Grego.
Yes, Madam Chair and Board, I'm going to call upon Ms. Jennifer Dull and Rick Wolf on both of these hearings, but let's discuss number 1 first. And this is Public Policy 9270, deals with home education. This is second reading, and I understand there's no changes from the first.
Correct. Good morning, Board Chair, Board, staff, and community members. Today we have for the second reading to authorize to actually vote on the public policy, sorry about that, for home education. We brought this first to the board in January at workshop and on February 26th for first reading. And as Dr. Grego mentioned, there have been no changes. Highlights for the changes that are proposed for vote tonight include updates to the parent responsibility for instructional materials and curriculum, parent responsibilities for compliance with Florida statutes, specifically around maintaining portfolio of records and materials in letting the district know around any changes in their curriculum. And it also clarifies NAD's language for home education eligibility for participation in certain public education programs, including interscholastic extracurricular activities, Bright Future scholarships, dual enrollment, Pinellas virtual school, etc. And it also clarifies the language to note the district is not authorized to provide a regular high school diploma to home education students. With that, I present for you for vote.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We may have some speakers on this, so do we have any speakers?
I have no speakers this morning for this specific policy.
No speakers? Okay.
Move approval of the amendment to the policy.
Is there a second? Second. We have a motion with a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Please let the record note it is a 6-0 vote. Thank you.
The second of the unfinished business is the amendment to policy 9800 that deals with charter schools and bringing it in alignment with some of the new statutes. And so if you can go over those two. This also was covered at the same board workshop, and this is also the second reading.
Correct. So for policy 9800, again, went to January workshop, February 26th, first reading. Updates include the board's right to terminate any performance contract if a charter school fails to participate in the state's accountability system. It also updates the timeline for applications and considerations. It looks at specifically the responsibilities of the charter schools to comply with Florida Department of Education training and the forms in which they have to use. It updates our district contact and clarifies documents, what they need to submit if there is a change to their contract or a request for change in their contract. These are in alignment with the 2018 legislative statutes.
Do we have any speakers, Ms. Simonetti?
I do have a speaker on this policy. It's Mark Clutho.
Mark Clutho, Largo. As I stated before, here is this big article from the USA Today about your charter schools. They are, in a word, a scam. Simply put. And, you know, what I've been saying about your operation here, it applies for the charter schools. You know, I look at these buildings and their operations, and it's going down a bad path. A very, very bad path. I'm not going to say anything more right now, but one word says it all. It's a scam. You know, I suggest you all read the article. More to come.
Would just like to reiterate that these changes are based on the legislature making necessary changes or what they require to be changes in Tallahassee, and we have to abide by and follow the law and make sure that those changes are a part of our operational procedures and protocols. Do we have a motion with a second? Eileen made a motion. Bill Dudley gave the second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries with a 6-0 vote. Thank you all so very much. Moving on to our consent agenda, what I would like for us to do is go ahead and vote on the consent agenda minus item number 4, which has been pulled by school board member Nicole Carr, and then we'll take up item number 4 once that vote has been.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Again, this is for a vote, not including number 4, which has been pulled for discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Now we'll take up consent agenda item number 4. Ms. Carr?
Thank you. I do believe that we need to add the additional time for our fundamental schools. However, I wanted to point out that this was initially overlooked, possibly because so much emphasis was based on transportation. And at our fundamental schools, our fundamental elementary schools, we do not currently provide transportation. I feel that this limits access, equitable access, and one of the foundational, part of our discussion and our belief was that we maintained the start times as they are because we felt like all students needed to have access to our career technical programs, our high school programs, our middle school programs. We have a 3-tiered system, we have arterial busing. So fundamentally, we believed that all students should have access to our programs of choice. However, we limit the access to our fundamental elementary schools. So I wanted to point out that discrepancy so that we're aware of it and that we consider looking at this for the 2020, prior to the 2020 application program, so that we can see if this is an inequity that we hope or we wish to continue. So I just wanted to bring it to our attention so we look at it for the future, because I don't think we are providing equal access to elementary fundamental schools because families who are not able to provide transportation may not choose a fundamental elementary school.
Mr. Dudley? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
No problem.
If we have a large number of parents and students that they want to go to a fundamental elementary school, and it exceeds what our capacity is, does that mean we open more schools, which in fact would mean that we would increase the busing and so forth? Are you taking that into consideration?
Ms. Carr?
I would just like us to investigate the possibilities and look at the consequences of those decisions.
All right.
Because I think the way we are doing it now is inequitable.
Exploratory.
Yes.
I got you. Okay, thank you.
School Board Member Cook?
Now, I was just going to mention that this is about start times, not about transportation. If we were going to get into a discussion, I wanted to make sure we were focusing on the start times. But it seems like it has wrapped up, so we'll let it go.
Can I say?
Ms. Carr?
Yes, but I think start times were heavily influenced by transportation.
Right,
So
and
I
there's a
wanted to-
time for us to have the conversation. It's just not with this agenda item, was the point I was going to make. But we're good. We're good.
Thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. I know that we've discussed this previously, so it's just, again, an educational conversation as it relates to what we've talked about before and bringing it forward. So we certainly.
What's the item?
Yeah, yeah. So thank you very much, Ms. Carr. Thank you very much, Mr. Dudley and Ms. Cook, for your comments. So we have before us item number 4, which is to request revision of school opening and closing times for elementary fundamental schools. Do we have a motion with a second on that item?
Move approval.
No, not on 4. We pulled 4 for discussion. So we didn't do a motion with a second on that one. So the motion is to go ahead and approve the,
As written.
as written. No changes. So we have Ms. Eileen Long with a motion. We have Ms. Carol Cook with a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Do we have any opposed? Motion carries with a 6-0 vote. Thank you. Moving on to our non-consent agenda. Request approval of the district English learner EL plan. Dr. Grego?
Yes, Madam Chair and school board members, I am so thrilled in terms of our English learner plan that we submit to the state. I've asked Dr. Natasha Karak to present just a very brief overview to this board. Our EL department is gaining a lot of notoriety throughout the state in terms of our progress. Some of those, it's not all about English learners, but some of that you saw in last Saturday's Marie Edmonds Hispanic Awards, but really EL goes over a spectrum of many, many, many languages. So, Dr. Karak.
Thank you, Dr. Grego. Good morning, Madam Chairperson, board members, Dr. Grego, staff, and community members. District ELL plan outlines policies and procedures that build an equitable educational environment for our English language learners across the district. It guides schools and district offices in ensuring the compliance with state and federal laws, but also ensuring that compliance drives academic achievement of our English language learners. The plan was developed with input from Parent Leadership Council at our February meeting and also throughout the course of the year in all of our ESL workshops, parent workshops. Additionally, we solicited input from community organizations as well as teachers, staff, school, and district administrators. The plan addresses 9 sections required by the state, and these sections include identification and home language survey procedures, English language proficiency assessments, including the entry assessment and also the state annual assessment, in addition to that state content assessments for English learners, student instruction and program delivery models, moving on to monitoring of students who have met the proficiency criteria, and then also Parent Leadership Council requirements for ESOL training for teachers. Plan, as it is proposed, contains no major changes to the currently approved version. The only adjustment was the language in the Parent Leadership Council section, and that was adjusted to reflect district efforts on both district and school levels in reaching out to the English learner community and providing some additional resources to them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any comments by any board members?
I would move approval of the item.
Okay, is there a second? Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Do we have any opposed? Thank you so very much for what you're doing with our students. We appreciate you. Thank you. So item number 2 and item number 3 were removed from the agenda previously. Moving on to item number 4, which is to request approval of the amendments to the charter school contracts for Plato Academy to change the primary science curriculum. And remember, this is just the curriculum that we're addressing at this point, and that information was presented to us.
Right.
Dr. Grego?
Mr. Wall, go ahead.
Good morning. As was stated, this was presented at the workshop in March. This is a request to change the primary curriculum for Plato, their science curriculum. This is in response to our board, our policy, which states that if there's a significant change, that we request that it comes before the board for a vote, and obviously a curriculum change is fairly significant. So we want to make sure that we're aware of any changes like that. You see 6 items before you. The 7th item is just included in the renewal contract for the Plato Pinellas Park. So that renewal will come before you at another time.
Any questions, concerns by board members? Do we have a motion with a second?
Move approval.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you so very much.
Thank
we
you.
Appreciate you. And number 5, request to approve the purchase of all hazards emergency software and solutions from Safe Plans. Dr. Grego.
Yes, Madam Chair and board members and to the general public, I mean, we have been, I want to first of all commend this board for placing and really spending the time, each and every workshop that we have that deals with safety, security of our school buildings and so forth. And we thought this was a very good item to ask Mr. Herbeck just to give a brief overview of our next step in securing our schools and keeping our schools safe, at the same time creating a schooling environment, and that we really want to hold on to.
Thank you, Dr. Grego. Madam Chair, board members, and staff. As you all know, we've had an extensive emergency plan in place for many years, both at the district level and the school level. And our emergency plans cover everything. It's an all hazards plan. It covers everything from fire to severe weather to a campus intruder, gas leaks, and even personal situations on campus if somebody has a medical emergency. We've always worked with our schools and all of our law enforcement agencies to make sure that those plans are unique for each of our schools and work sites. But however, working with so many schools and so many law enforcement agencies over the years, it's become a challenge to make sure that we're both consistent and make sure that we're all always on the same page as to how we both plan, we train, and then as we respond. And one thing that we learned from the Stoneman Douglas Commission, chaired by Sheriff Gualtieri, is that all the responding agencies at Stoneman Douglas weren't exactly on the same page. And that obviously led to some issues down there. What we want to do, and through our work with the sheriff, with our work with Chief Williams, and with our other local law enforcement agencies, we want to make sure that we're connected, that our plans are connected from a school and district level, and we're also connected with our law enforcement. And Safe Plans allows us to do that. It gives us that connectivity. And one of the things that we kind of have thought about too is we put these plans together, and remember, since the Stoneman Douglas tragedy, we have building assessments of every single building in our district. We train every single staff member, including substitutes, bus drivers, everybody who's employed. We've trained for all kinds of emergencies. We train our students. We do our drills. We have to make sure that we log all that information for compliance purposes, but also to make sure that we're getting better and to make sure that we're always moving forward. So one of the things that we talked about, though, is putting all those pieces in place. Sometimes our staff members, especially in the ground level in the schools, lose that connectedness, and they kind of see as parts are kind of separated from each other. And so it's kind of going back to a good lesson plan. We want to scaffold. We want to make sure that our plans are in place and that we use our drills and our training methods, that they build upon each other, and those help shape our future plans. And so when we started looking at ways in which we could connect all of this information, we discovered several different options out there. We issued an RFP for some type of a connected, and really what we were looking for is technology, of course, and so a way for us to unite all of these plans in place. And again, Safe Plans allows us to do that. So what Safe Plans will do for us, it will give us consistency on our school and work site plans using the latest plans that adopted either from Homeland Security or from the state of Florida, or whichever plan that eventually does come from the state. We will be able to download that to Safe Plans so that every school will have the same template. Every school will enter the same information. Again, it will be unique to their site, but one of the things that we see as teachers transfer, or principals, or even students move around, they go to one school emergency plan to another, and they're having to flip through and look for information. And this way, with Safe Plans, it'll all be on the same page. They'll go to the same section. They'll find the same information. The only thing that'll change is maybe the building number and room number, but the information will be consistent. Most importantly, though, with the plans, law enforcement will be able to access those plans without having to go through servers or firewalls or anything else. It'll be cloud-based plans that even if a law enforcement officer or fire and rescue are on their way to a school, they'd be able to access that from their laptop and know what the school is already doing before they even arrive on scene. It also gives us the ability to schedule our drills, to track the results of those drills, and then most importantly, use data from those drills in order to improve them down the road. And again, that's something that us and law enforcement will be able to share. Safe Plans will also provide whichever building assessment that the state decides on. We will be able to download that assessment document into Safe Plans. We'll be able to make those assessments through whether it's a phone or iPad or whatever we have in place. It allows us to really gather data on the safety of our campuses, to take a look at how we're moving forward with that, and then most importantly, again, identify gaps that we can send out, whether maintenance or facilities, to address. And then one of the last things it does, and one thing that we're really, really excited about, it provides a 24/7 portal and access for all staff members to access video training. Safe Plans has a wide network, a deep, really extensive library of video courses, all the way from what a bus driver should do if they see danger at a bus stop, all the way to training staff members on what to do if there's an active assailant on campus. We can also work with Safe Plans to develop our own training, whatever we think is unique to Pinellas or even unique to a certain level of school, we can deliver those as well. That video training, again, can be done with our employees at home or wherever they want to, 24/7. It has the ability to track as they complete those courses, and then we'll be able to import that to professional development so that they can get hours for that as well. And then one other thing it does that is not included in this purchase is it has a mapping feature that Safe Plans will go to all of our schools. They'll map our facilities in terms of grids that law enforcement and fire rescue are used to responding to. They won't have to look for a building and try to figure out where's building 12 or building 11. They'll look at it kind of like a chessboard, A3, and they're all used to responding to facilities in that kind of grid format. And that's something that we may be pursuing in the future. We may be bringing a request to purchase the mapping feature to you. Department of Justice just announced another round of the COPS grants like we received last summer. So we're considering using that grant opportunity to purchase this mapping solution through Safe Plans. So Safe Plans has been adopted by the entire state of Missouri, by the entire state of Delaware. It's in use in over 5,000 schools nationwide, and it's headquartered right here in Palm Harbor. So we know that we're going to have very good customer service just around the corner. So the purchase of Safe Plans, again, will allow us to consolidate those emergency planning efforts, both with our district, with our schools, and our law enforcement agencies. And I ask that you adopt this purchase today.
So, Madam Chair, one of the things that is so attractive, not only is it a local business, but also the ability of our teachers, support staff, our administrators to access some of this training at appropriate or more convenient times to them. I mean, the model of always having to gather everybody and pre-planning and others, restricted time is really huge, because sometimes it just takes a 5 or 10 minute video that consistently sends the right message out, accurate message, instead of 126 messages. So there's so many great aspects of this particular plan. I really appreciate Mr. Herbeck seeking this out, and we're going to continue to grow with it. We share this with the sheriff and many other law enforcement agencies. We're blessed in a way of having to work with so many different law enforcement agencies. So this is actually, I think, a necessity for us to all be on the same page, whether in Pinellas Park, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, Tarpon Springs, and so forth. So thank you for your support.
Is there a second? Second. There's a motion with a second to accept and support the payment for the Safe Plans, emergency software and solutions. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Do we have any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you all very much. Moving on to new business items introduced by the superintendent.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Flowers. And this is certainly the season of student recognitions, teacher recognitions, and we're in full swing as many of us are seeing one another certainly frequently. I want to just say thank you to all, Ms. Matway and the departments for putting on the Marie Edmonds Hispanic Achievement Awards this past Saturday, that we recognized just under 700 students, high-performing students. I want to thank Chair Flowers and Vice Chair Cook for presenting those medals to each and every one of those students. Last evening, we had the Pride Awards, another packed house at Ruth Eckerd Hall. Thank you to Ruth Eckerd Hall. I know they're going through some major construction and improvements of that facility. Even we were lucky that even McMullen Booth haven't been closed on this Saturday. We're making it through all of these things. That road is open now. But we recognized our 5th and 8th grade students last night, and what a joy. So many parents come up to me and say thank you for the recognition, and they really truly enjoy our district and honor that we're honoring their students for their hard work. Tomorrow we have the turnaround breakfast, and so it is one after the other, but it's always a good time of the year. I want to say and recognize Boca Ciega High School. In 2017, Boca Ciega, the AVID program, and the school itself was designated an AVID National Demonstration Site. Our first national demonstration site actually was at Northeast High School under the leadership of Kevin Hendrick. But we have 2, which is very rare that we have 2 national demonstration high schools in the same district. They like to spread those around so people come and visit various demonstration sites. Recently, Boca Ciega High School was designated, though, as the AVID School-Wide Site of Distinction. And we talk a lot about equity and opportunity for all students, and these are some of the variables that were measured there: rigorous academic opportunities, students in high-level classes, college level, dual enrollment, honors level classes, and superb instructional practices and several others. But AVID certainly recognizes our school district to be a leader in presenting the AVID curriculum and the standards that work with so many students in our school district. Largo High School librarian, it's very appropriate for me to announce this at this time because we're celebrating the Library Awareness Month week, and also Linda Burris here as the principal finalist of the year. But Holly Schwartzman, a school librarian at Largo Middle School, was selected as the 2019 American Association of School Librarians. Her winnings there, she gets a check for $1,250 to recognize, and this is an honor for us. They recognize this particular category as school librarians with 5 or less years of experience. And she also gets $5,000 for the school library that she can spend at Largo Middle School. She will be honored at the AASL award ceremony in Washington, D.C. also in June. So we have a lot of folks that are representing Pinellas County throughout this nation, and certainly putting our name out there. We also, as I know the board members here, certainly recognizing some of the major accomplishments of students, too many to mention. But I want to mention a few, and I encourage you to keep bringing these students up at not only board meetings but workshops and throughout. Our students who are graduating or enrolled are doing amazing things, and we need to tell their story. But Roy Harrison, a senior at Pinellas Park High School, and Nathan Hamilton, a senior at Lakewood High School, the CAT program, are only 2 of 100 seniors across the country to be awarded the Amazon Engineer Scholarship. Both these students will be receiving $10,000 for 4 years. That's $40,000 to study computer science at the college of their choice. Amazon is smart in terms of recognizing these people. In addition to that, during their freshman year, Amazon offers them an internship. Guess where? At Amazon too, a paid internship. So these are the types of things that our students are going. I think it's always benefits us to take a moment and to truly celebrate. These students represent really hundreds and hundreds that are receiving also tremendous accolades. Pedro Garcia Zaragoza, also from Pinellas Park High School, was named a member of the 16th class of the Dell Scholars. This is a well-known scholarship, $20,000, textbooks, credits, tutoring, and many others to support Pedro as he enters post-secondary or college university studies. We also just notified this week that Tracy Ellis, a volunteer at Ridgecrest, remember Tracy came up as one of the adult volunteers at Ridgecrest Elementary. She was recognized as one of the finalists statewide, competing against all other adult volunteers, and she too will be recognized on this Thursday at the breakfast for outstanding volunteers. It also gives me great pleasure that our district was named the Energy Star, and this was just released this morning. It was announced this morning that Pinellas County has been named Energy Star Partner of the Year by the Environmental Protection Agency. This is the highest ranking the EPA agency in the country. This award recognizes Energy Star partner businesses and organizations that demonstrate superior leadership, innovation, and commitment to environmental protection through energy efficiency. We established the goal of becoming a sustainability leader and have worked diligently to instill this mindset of sustainability throughout the entire district. This district was awarded 92 Energy Star building certificates in 2018, making us the highest ranked school district in the state of Florida for 2018 and putting us among the top 25% of energy efficient buildings nationwide. Over the last 4 years, Pinellas County Schools has had an overall 17.5 reduction in energy consumption, a total of $21.9 million in energy cost avoidance. I want to thank Mr. Herbeck and his entire team for putting sustainability in the forefront of this facility. And as we were recognized or notified of this, Mr. Herbeck and I, on behalf of this board, will be taking a very quick trip to Washington, D.C. To be honored by the EPA, and our district will be one of the foremost honored school districts in the United States to receive the 2019 Energy Star Award ceremony in Washington. We'll be there this Thursday, and I'll be flying immediately back for Friday. So I want to say to this board, thank you for believing in what we're doing with synergistics and the whole process of energy efficiency and saving the carbon footprint in our community. The last, I want to end off with the Summer STEM and Visual Arts Camp. I know that you know that the Summer Bridge program, the registration is in full swing, and but in addition to the Summer STEM, in addition to the Summer Bridge program, I don't want our public to lose sight that we have many camps, visual arts camps and summer STEM camps. These are also underway. Sue Castleman offers a number of elementary and middle visual arts camps. These applications are due April 19th. Please, if you're interested, go to our website. Also, we're offering a series of 2 types of STEM camps to explore science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The summer camps will be held, the first camp, STEM camp will be for grades 2 through 7, and the second will be a STEM honors camp that will be geared towards 8th and 9th graders, many of those students who sat for the SAT in 7th grade that are rising 8th graders. So these and many other camps are out there. So I don't want us to forget that we have the Summer Bridge program. Enrollment's going well. We're really targeting those students who need additional assistance or instruction in the summertime in reading, mathematics, and science. But in addition to that, please take a look at our camps too. That concludes my comments. Thank you, Madam Chair.
No items this morning, thank you, ma'am.
No items by the school board attorney. Any items introduced by the board members? Ms. Long?
Yes, I just wanted to inform the board that Mr. Herbeck and many administrators in the back, a week ago Thursday, I guess it was, we went to the Prepare. It goes along with the safety. The speaker was talking about how we are doing, and there's a page that you could look at our district. It was really important for me to see it all come together in one whole piece. We are really hitting almost everything, if not everything. And I'd like next workshop, Mr. Herbeck, if you and maybe Dennis Russo and Chief Williams, if we could just go step by step just a little bit so that the board knows what we're doing. This was a phenomenal training. I know the second day Donna Sicilian and her team went to the mental health component of this. This was just a fabulous, it really was educational. I think it'll help all of us make sure we're on the same page and we're doing what's right for safety. But I have to say, Mr. Herbeck, and Dennis Russo, he's not here right now, but we're doing a great job. I was very impressed.
Thank you. Bless you, bless you. Ms. Cook?
First of all, congratulations, Mr. Herbeck, for your award. It's a wonderful recognition, and I appreciate all your hard work that you've done in this regard. I spent the last week, in addition to some of the student recognitions, I spent the last week in Tallahassee and had the opportunity to leave messages for some of our legislators, but also to meet with several of the legislators from the consortium. People that were, for example, Senator Pasadomo, who is the K-12, and Fernandez, Representative Fernandez, who is on the Appropriations Committee and that kind of thing. But the things that we really concentrated on and focused in with all of our 11 members of the consortium counties was increasing the base student allocation and, explaining the flexibility that we had, our safe school initiatives, and making sure that they continued to fund those and fund them appropriately. And when we say safe schools, we don't mean just safe schools, but also the mental health piece of it. The required local effort, so that we're looking at increasing our ability to levy the taxes based on the increased property values and new construction and that type of thing. We've really talked about that a lot, as well as workforce development, CTE, expanding those programs and opportunities. I have to tell you, the tone is different in Tallahassee than it has been for the past few years. Much more conversation, is the way I'll put it, as opposed to we're in the same room talking. And people willing to come in and listen and share some of the conversations. I don't know if we're going to see a whole lot of progress, but we have people who are starting to understand a little bit more. Our documents that we gave to our legislators were mentioned by a couple others, having received them. But one of the things that we pointed out that seemed to gain some traction was looking at the graph, Mr. Smith, that you made, thank you very much, on our legislative platform, this one. It has a consumer price index as well as FEFP and our base student allocation. When we pointed out that the consumer price index went up by $1,237 from 2007 to 2018, our FEFP went up by $46 over that same period of time, and our base student allocation went up by $124. That began to resonate because they kept hearing, well, we've been giving more for education, we've been giving more for education. But it hasn't been keeping up with the consumer price index. And several of the senators, as well as some of the representatives, asked for those numbers. So we gave out a lot of these pieces that we have. And just coincidentally, our platform item was on the other side. So senators and representatives from all over the state have our platform as well. So we'll have to see what happens. And if not this year, maybe next, but we'll keep working on it. But I did have to say it was a little better. Also, the Commissioner of Education, Corcoran, came and spoke to the entire delegation. And it was interesting to hear some of the things that have been said in the past versus what he's having to realize or learn as the Commissioner of Education. One of the things he talked about was a lot of the gains and a lot of the, our NAEP scores were number 3 in the nation and those kinds of things, and giving credit to what's happening in our public schools. So we will have ongoing conversations with him as well. So we'll see how it all works out. But it was, I'm more pleased with this trip. Even though it was late, the relationships are starting to be built and the information is going, which is probably one of them calling me right now. I apologize. I thought I had turned that off. It is off now. So anyway, we have started the communication and the conversations, and I think if we get to it earlier next year, we may see some better input. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Dudley?
I got it down this time.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
It is from Tallahassee.
I wanted to, I noticed this last weekend in St. Petersburg, and it's happening all over the county, it's prom season. And I just wanted to throw this out and it's a great time to celebrate and do all those kinds of things, but be mindful of what you're doing. Sometimes you make poor choices and they will last a long time. Sometimes they can be forgiven, sometimes they're not. And so I just want to caution every parents Particularly, make sure that you have some control. Just don't let the kids go and run amok. Caution them about doing the right thing, and don't do something stupid that they're going to have to pay for down the road. And the same with graduation. You know, graduation is approaching, and if you make some stupid mistake, it could cost you the opportunity to walk with your class.
That's
So,
right.
and
That is
it
right.
happens every year,
That is right.
unfortunately. And I would like to just throw this out to the parents and the kids, and just think twice before you do something that you'll regret. That's all.
Thank you. I just want to share a couple of items. The first is, I had a chance to attend an event at Osceola High School, and really it was the students who have been chronicling the history of the Lincoln Cemetery. So it was an overall presentation of their work and the two books that they've written. The first book they've had out for quite some time, and it's all with the support of Dr. Davis, who works at that school, and she teaches African American history and the Black diaspora component. But it's the Lincoln Cemetery Chronicles. So I was given, and others were given copies of that book, but they now have a second book called Jonathan Goes to the Lincoln Cemetery, and it's for students. So I bought 5 copies. I gave 2 away, one to some teachers who are our ESE teachers, and they really liked the book because it's full of color and whatnot, and they thought their students would really gravitate towards that. But the others I'm going to give one to my church, I'm sorry, y'all. And then the others I was going to share here so you guys could also take a look at them. They're only $5, so I got 5 books, but I wrote them a check for a bigger number because I wanted them to be able to purchase more books and then help give them away. But it really was wonderful. We took a tour, even though I've been through the cemetery before. The students gave you their tour, and they were the guides and talking about the history. But I had a chance to share with them some of the history because I have grown up here, and just talking about some of the things that have occurred within our community and why that cemetery was selected in the area. So it was really interesting, really nice. If you ever want to go on a tour, just contact them. They do tours all the time. So just give them a call, and they love to talk about it. So I'm excited that it's something that our students are doing with Osceola High School. And thank you to the principal, Mr. Vigu, for supporting the effort. And afterwards, we had what we call a repast. So it was a chance for us to sit and eat and break bread and kind of talk about what it was that we experienced and whatnot. So I really enjoyed that. And thank you so much to the students for being concerned about the history of our community. I enjoyed the Pride Awards and the 467 awards for the Hispanic Achievement Awards. It was so nice seeing the students, even the ones that were barely 2 feet tall, coming up, saying their name in their school. So it was really, really nice. And Dr. Grego gave some very nice compliments, as well as Principal Ovali and his son, Bobby Ovali. So I had a really good time there. I had a chance to visit Azalea Middle School. I always try to go before testing starts. I don't like to go there when it's testing started. So I had a chance to sit and chit chat with the principal, with the assistant principals and some other team members that were there, as well as some students. But here's the part that I really liked. They were getting things ready for testing. And the students get a ticket, like you're going to an event. So they get their ticket, and their ticket coincides with where they sit. And so it gives them a different sense, a different perception of going to take the test, rather than, we're just ushering you into a room. Here are all these laptops and computers, and everybody sits down and takes the test. It invites them to the event. So I had a really good time visiting with the students in the hallway, chatting with them, talking to teachers about what they were doing, actually going into some of the classes. One math class, I actually sat and did math with some students. They were working on fractions and percentages, so we got to talk about that. So I enjoyed visiting that school. But I also enjoyed hearing just some of the climate change and the perception and sense in the field for preparation for the test. Not as much anxiety as we've heard before, and it's quite anxious. This test carries a lot of weight, so I really appreciated that. The city of St. Petersburg every year, well, for the last 2 years, have put forward what it calls its youth empowerment grants, and they've already started acknowledging who's going to receive those grants. But what I really like about it is the grants are focused towards activities that are around learning for students. So it's not just an arbitrary grant that someone says they're going to do something. It's really focused around learning. And there was one that received a grant. I'm glad she did. It's the Busy Bee Learning Bus. You can never have too many vehicles going out throughout the community, providing information and free books to our students. And so the young lady that heads up Busy Bee Learning, she was a teacher in Pinellas County Schools. So I was pretty excited to hear about that and some other initiatives that works with civics for our students, that works with job skills and planning, financial planning. Students should learn early on that when you graduate from high school, you're going to college, you're getting all these offers for credit cards, that, you know, you may submit it and you get an offer for a credit card, but what does that do to your credit score? And then if you don't handle that properly, what does that do to your credit? So I just think it's really good that they're doing things like that throughout the community. Congratulations to our district on winning the Energy Star Award. We hear a lot about conservation, definitely climate change. Lakewood High School has the program down there that addresses science and looking at what we're doing with our climate. We have partnerships with the University of South Florida and their marine science program. So I think it's really good that we're getting this award. It shows that we're trying to do our part, whatever that part can be, to be conservationists in our own right. So I'm really excited about that and some of the changes that we're making within the district. Again, another opportunity for the district to tell its own story about what we're doing. So it's education in many areas, many genres, and many venues. So I really appreciate that, and I appreciate all that we're doing. Ms. Rita Vasquez, are you back there? Okay, there she is. Thank you again, Miss Rita. I am consistently in touch with her, like, where are we with our numbers? How many kids? We got to make sure we get across that stage. So she never gets tired of me. So thank you so very much. Mr. Bill Lawrence, Mr. Bill Lawrence, I don't see him back there. Oh, hey, oh gosh. And I got on my glasses too. Thank you so very much, because Mr. Bill Lawrence is always prepared, always working with our families when, you know, they're trying to see what happens with this school and that school and maneuvering. So thank you so very much. Laura Matway and your team, thank you. Wonderful job. I mean, the Hispanic Achievement Award ceremony just ran so smoothly. We had so much fun. We have the Verl Davis Award of dinner instead of breakfast this time coming up. Thank you again, you and Valerie Brimm and so many others. And I've been bugging Paula Texel a lot lately because a lot of calls, you know, come about different things related to employment questions. So I want to thank you and your staff for being very kind and being very patient and getting the information back and spending time to share with those employees that are calling you about those concerns. So I just want to give a shout out to your team because I really appreciate all that they do. Wonderful things are going on in our technical trade programs with Pinellas Technical College, Clearwater, and St. Pete. More and more students are hearing about it and seeing it as an option for those that may not want to go to college or may not want to go to St. Pete College here locally, but they want to open their own businesses. And think about it, entrepreneurship for some communities is the anchor within that community because they're hiring family members, they hire students during the summertime. Those students get that experience that helps them in their future life planning. So I'm really grateful for that because seeing those businesses open and flourish, and I shop at those businesses, not just when, you know, we celebrate small businesses and go shop, you know, in your downtown businesses. I shop frequently because I want them to know that I'm not just asking them to invest in the community, but I'm willing to invest in them so that they remain vested in our community. So thank you all so much for that. I really appreciate it. And I guess we should give a shout out to Mr. Hendricks because he was helping to keep us straight and hand out, he and Dr. Corbett, even though we messed it up a little bit because we were too busy congratulating the students. So we got lost a couple of times, but thank you all so very much for helping us find our way. But we had so much much fun last night. We really did. And for the school board members that weren't there, I did acknowledge that we had a couple of different events going on, that you all were representing the school board at another event. They gave you a round of applause. So I just wanted you to know that I made sure that I mentioned you guys in your absence. That's all that I have for today. What we're going to do is we'll go ahead and review our board request with Dr. Corbett, and then we will adjourn the meeting, and then we will have our school board meeting evaluations after that. So,
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have two board requests listed. One will to be explored discussion regarding transportation for elementary fundamental students in the future years. And the second would be a future workshop topic to review the prepare training, and especially as it applies to the overall safety plan for the district.
Cool beans, cool beans. Thank you so very much. So we will go ahead and we'll adjourn our meeting, and then we will open it up for any speakers that we have. Ms. Simonetti?
Grego, we have two speakers this morning under general public comments. Our first is Lenora Faulkner, and our second will be Mark Clutho.
Good morning, Ms. Flowers and honorable school board members. Thank you for your service. I'm Lenora Faulkner, a Florida professional educator for 50 years, certified in biology, chemistry, mathematics, science, health education, middle schools, and the gifted. I graduated from the University of Florida. Steve Spurrier is the alpha of my class. I'm the omega. I earned the least by far. I was honored to be asked to teach in a special program at Pinellas Park Middle. In 1994, the physics teacher wrote a course modification. All 8th graders would take physics and technology for one semester. 2 teachers. They would come, then the students would come to one chemistry teacher. She would teach 40 students in each class, about 320 students a year. Students would receive 1/2 extra credit for technology. Students love science. The physics teacher was one of the top 10 teachers out of 6,000 that year. I was a chemistry teacher. I love the periodic table. I taught chemistry using art. My father is a chemical engineer and my mother was an artist. In 1998, the chemistry teacher got into her subject. She had breast cancer and 7 lymph nodes. She taught on Thursday, chemo after school, taught on Friday, and rested on the weekend. Her surgery was scheduled during National Chemistry Week. Her principal joked that it was not, that it had been on the school calendar. She promised to celebrate it. Her students' chemistry magazines were on the internet in November of 1998. Students were amazed and excited, especially her principal. In February 1999, she had to leave. She would participate in a clinical trial out of Memphis. When the sports fans were attending the Final Four in St. Petersburg and Clearwater, her white blood cells would be killed with high-dose chemotherapy, and her bone marrow had been activated. She was home for 5 days without white blood cells. By the grace of God, my white blood cells returned. Most of those people did not make it. When I returned in 2003, when I retired in 2003, I ordered 500 periodic tables. I love chemistry. The American Chemistry Society is meeting in Orlando, celebrating the 150th anniversary of the periodic table.
Thank
I
you.
gave you each one. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Mark Clutho, Largo. Well, I have to alter what I was going to say. The superintendent says, end off. No, you just end. And the chair says, got on my glasses. A present tense, have. You don't belong on a school board. But this nonsense, you are being energy efficient and you're getting some award from Trump's EPA. What a joke. Energy Star. I've had this here numerous times. From the spring of 1991, Amory Lovins wrote in Fine Home Building, if it's not efficient, it's not beautiful. And the Rocky Mountain Institute in Snowmass, Colorado was built without a furnace. You have heating systems in all of the schools here, right? Your stupid buildings. Here's the guest column I had in the Tampa Tribune in August of 2000, almost 20 years ago. Hillsborough County could save money by building more efficient schools. I was described as an expert in energy efficiency. Now, again, this notion that you are somehow being efficient is an absolute farce. Your buildings are complete junk, and you people are frauds, liars. You have imaging specular reflectors facing 180 degrees in the wrong direction. You can't even get that right. It's malfeasance. It's criminal. You people should be jailed. You're wearing coats which add to the cooling load in here.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
It's impossible to have a nice day.
I'm going to end our day with a very nice quote. It's not about having expectations, because we all do. It's about managing your expectations and making sure that they are realistic. That is from Mr. Mo Love, and he is from the Love Frequency Network. Have a nice day.